There we go. Now you have sound. Wow, that's horrible. I don't know why both my game sounds and my mic was muted. But both my game sounds and my mic was muted. And I did not notice the little mute icons. Man, that would have been embarrassing if it continued for longer on than the intros. So let's try that again. Hello everyone, I am Hacklebeast, and this is the final week of Twitch TV Gambit Cup regular season. iFU versus LRM, and the first one match is TTF versus Bakuryu. So, as for how the playoff picture goes, both of these teams are in the playoffs. This game determines seeding, though. And the loser of this game will be 5th place and have to face either SAS or NB first round. Not a lot of fun. But the winner could potentially get that 2nd spot and get a bye in the first round, which would be quite nice. So there's a good amount at stake in this game. Especially for iFU. If iFU could sweep LRM with TTF, apparently. But if iFU could sweep LRM, they'd have a really good shot of clinching their own destiny, so to speak, and really making it very hard for NB to get second place themselves. They would have to sweep IWL. LRM needs to win, and then needs to hope that NB loses to IWL, which is another set. I'm not sure when that's going to be casted. Could be today, could be Sunday. Casting schedules are all mixed up. I didn't know I was supposed to cast until like 15 minutes before now. So, here we are. Bakuryu doing his standard 3-hash Mutalisk. And TTF went for 1 Rax FE. Going to go for the little bit of... actually a pretty safe, or a pretty unsafe 1 Rax FE. He doesn't have a bunker down. And he didn't build the command center on the inside. Now, this is a reverse ramp map, so this wouldn't be the best of maps to try that on. But TTF is getting a little bit risky that Bakuryu wouldn't go for a 9 pool or even a 12 pool. Which, it's a pretty safe assumption, I guess. Bakuryu does love his 12 hatch, especially in this matchup, so... good gamble by TTF, and he's going to completely get away with it, because Bakuryu only has 2 lings out at the moment. So, as I was saying, winner has a realistic shot of getting 2nd place. Loser will be 5th place. And there was a little bit of drama before the match started. I don't know the full details, but I know it had something to do with BMW, who is iFU's manager, though not an official manager for the purposes of Gambit Cup. And it had something to do with Castro. And those two might have been isolated incidences, and there was just like double drama. But something weird was going on. I don't know. But we have games, and that's what really matters. TTF went in for the 2nd SCV scout. He's going to get a really long look at Bakuryu's base. It's a little bit surprising because his first SCV was able to live long enough to see the 3rd hatchery. So it's kind of surprising that he would want to keep that SCV alive. I mean, if he can keep it alive long enough to see the Spire go down, then he eliminates the possibility of some weird 3-hatch Hydralisk shenanigans. But you would think that after seeing a 3rd hatchery in this matchup, it's good enough to just not send out the extra scout. And some pretty bad SCV management there. That one Zergling was able to get a lot of hits multiple times because TTF wasn't continuously moving it around. Little bit unfortunate for him. Still didn't... He saw the lair finish, which is nice, because that means it's probably not 3-hatch Hydralisk. It means that it's maybe 3-hatch Lurker. I'm trying to think of what else it could be that's not 3-hatch Spire, because it's obviously 3-hatch Spire. It's just a matter of what DTF was afraid might be coming and why he would bother to send in the 2nd SCV. I don't... Oh. Okay. I was gonna say, I don't know why my chat is smaller than normal. because it is, and I can see like more stuff, and it's really weird because it's not what I'm used to after doing so many casts with it all at the same size. But recently, I was watching something on Twitch TV, and I made it really big. I just control plus zoomed in so that the chat and the video were the only two things taking up space. I couldn't see any of the ads or the other white space on the channel. But that doesn't work for my casting setup, so I had to minus, and I think I minused one more time than is normal. And apparently, me zooming out one extra time also affects the size of my pop-out chat, which is a little bit interesting. Anyway, TTF going for early mech play, and here come the first 4 speed vultures. Bakuyu already has Mutalisks out, and the Sunken Colony will be finished in time, so shouldn't have too much of a problem with these vultures. And wow, couldn't even get one into the base. Normally when you go for a run with 4 speed vultures, you're able to get 1 or 2. But Bakuyu pretty lucky with the targeting that his Mutalisks and his Sunken Colony took to do just enough damage to each of them, and not overkilling any of them. So, Bakuyu can now come in with the Mutalisks. Because he isn't chasing around speed vultures in his base, it means that he's going to be able to get the Mutalisks a little bit sooner than he would in most games over to his opponent's base. TTF's going to have a harder time as Goliath range is not done. I'm not even confident it's started yet. Bakuyu now going to build back off. No damage. Okay, Goliath range just started. And yeah, if Bakuyu had to keep those Mutalisks at home to chase around the vultures, which is what TTF would have expected, then Goliath range would have finished, those few turrets that were still building would have finished, and TTF would have had his timing perfect. But, lucky break for Bakuyu, going to be able to get a little bit of extra damage, and hasn't lost a Mutalisk yet. Oh. Okay, I will save the replays now. I wasn't going to bother to do that until later. Replays are downloading. I don't know what's wrong with the sound. Can you be more specific about what the sound issues are? Anyway, Bakuyu with his trademark very fast hive. He loves to get that hive even before lurkers come out, or right around the same time as lurkers are on the field. I see the Hydralisk Den. He's not researching Lurker upgrade, and I don't see any Hydralisks. So I think he might have just skipped Lurker upgrade and gone straight for the Hive. And that's a reaction to seeing that his opponent's gone mech. Lurkers can be really hard to use against a properly microed, or not really microed, but properly managed mech force. If he knows what he's doing and he doesn't carelessly walk siege tanks through lurker fields, he just takes his time and slowly sieges his way across, the lurkers can do absolutely nothing. At least not until later in the game when you have Swarm, which is why Bakuyu gets Defilers. Bakuyu just loves Defilers in this matchup, and gets them a lot earlier than most other Zerg players do. First 3 lurkers are out. So, okay, he did get the lurker upgrade, he just hadn't quite gotten any lurkers out yet. But Defiler Mound already on the way. Now, this is the critical time for Bakuyu. If he can hold this push, where he has relatively little supply, and the Terran's putting out, if he can manage to hold it with the first set of Defilers that come out, Bakuyu's going to be in a great position. He'll be up on 4 bases, these are bases 3 and 4, and he'll be able to out-macro his opponent. But the way the Bakuyu strategy works is he doesn't have a whole large number of units at this time. There's a lot of stuff in Mutalisks right now which aren't the best of defensive units, especially against that combination of Marines and Goliaths. TTF, though, does not have many tanks. He had one back at his base. Yeah, he only has a single tank back at his base. So TTF's going to have a lot of trouble dealing with just a few lurkers. He doesn't even have science vessels. But the lurkers are in front of the SimCity, so the Goliaths will actually be able to pick off some of them. And now here come the Mutalisks. Oh, the Mutalisks aren't being microed. They're just going to go down relatively quickly. The Goliaths don't actually kill them that fast, but the Marines are going to be able to do enough, taking out all the Mutalisks. But does it do enough damage to TTF? Yes, it appears that Bakuyu did sacrifice all his Mutalisks to do just enough damage to TTF. Now the Defiler's out on the field, and that's not a strong enough force. Wait, is that... there's a nice canal. Okay. That sound was either a Nidus Canal or Overlord, and I did not see the Nidus Canal at first. But there it is, yeah, he's just transferring over some drones and transferring over a Defiler, so that he'll be able to defend when TTF comes up in this direction. My voice keeps cutting off? I don't know why my voice would be cutting off. Anyway, yeah, so Bakuyu's Defilers are out, and losing a couple of Hydralisks. And with no tanks and no Science Vessels, there's just nothing TTF can do to damage Bakuyu at this point in the game. He needs some of those gas high-tech units. And even siege tanks on their own aren't going to be enough. Those aren't big enough numbers. Interesting swarms from that Defiler, as he doesn't have any units around. Sending in about 6 Zerglings now. Those were really preemptive swarms. Okay. Alright, pausing to try to fix sound issues. Oh man, sound issues. I go to bed every night with nightmares about sound issues and the variety of sound issues that I can have, because I don't know how to fix any of them. Apparently this is different than the helicopter sound, because somebody would have said helicopter sound if it was helicopter sound. So... Alright, I'm gonna continue through this game. I really don't have a good solution. I can try unplugging my mic and replugging back in. And that's about it. So at the end of the game, if it doesn't get any better, that's next. Nah. Accident blows up dudes and vultures. That's less than ideal. Alright. Apparently that didn't fix it. Darn. Bakuyu now getting an Ultralisk Cavern. Looking at his drone saturation, Bakuyu does not have a lot mining minerals. I believe this is the only base where there are more drones than mineral patches, but here, only 5. Here, about 8, maybe 9. And here, only 6. So Bakuyu, not with the best of saturations this game. And oh, sniping a shuttle, just sitting out in the middle of the map with a full pack of Marines. That's a mistake from TTF, just leaving that hanging there. So he's going to start laying mines down, but Bakuyu's the one who's playing defensively here. The mines aren't going to help a whole lot. He either needs to figure out a way to expand a lot around the map, or the opposite, find a way to break one of these sets of 2 bases from Bakuyu. Looks like the vulture run by was a little bit more successful at this base, in that he managed to get some vultures in, but still relatively little damage. And another dropship loading it up with M&M once again. M&M drops can be effective against Bakuyu's style with relatively little units, and bases that rely on other bases' static defense to defend them. Just dropping some Marines back here can do a lot of damage. But Bakuyu has had to play against that a lot, so he knows how to properly react. Ooh, nice positioning with the Overlord. He's going to see the dropship, and Bakuyu has to be able to get Scourge into position to attack it. Oh, there's only 1 here. It's not going to be able to... Oh, there's 2. Oh. Mistake from Bakuyu. He definitely should have been able to snipe that dropship. He saw it with the Overlord. But the Marines will drop off. And lots of Zerglings coming out. Going to be enough to clear this up pretty easily. Ooh, is he just going to elevator in units? Yeah, it looks like he's just going to elevator in units. So, the few Marines that were down there are going to get cleaned up, and Bakuyu scourges yet another dropship, mostly filled with Marines and medics. So, good damage by him. He's getting a lot of mileage out of the Scourge. TTF now has taken a third, but excuse me, he's taken a third, but Baku's already taken a fifth, so it's not enough. He still either needs to figure out a way to break one of Baku's bases or take a base, another base of his own. But we're starting to get pretty close to the point in the game where Baku can now just start to macro up huge armies, so it won't be safe for TTF to just take random bases around the map. No one casting with me? Sure, I'll bring no one on after this game. Why the hell not? I've never casted with no one before. Anyway, a large number of Ultras coming through, but they're going to run through the minefield. It's going to soften them up to an extent, but not take out all of them. Well, nope, the mines won't take out all of them, but TTF's in a perfect position to deal with the pure Ultralisks, no Ling support, no Defilers. And that was a pretty bad attack. That was an entire control group of Ultralisks lost to kill off a few Marines. Ugh. Wait. Oh, please let game cast with me. Sorry, I don't have lots of time to read the chat, so I have to just kind of glance over there and kind of guess what people are saying based off of a few words. I don't even know if game's around. Not only do I not know if game's around, but AWA tends to not like people casting their own games. And game doesn't like people casting their own games. So I don't think that neither game nor my boss would want game to be casting. Anyway, Baku getting a 6th. They both want to cast. If they both wanted to cast, shouldn't they be talking to me instead of you? Are you like the official liaison between casters? Because casters are incapable of talking to each other? Anyway. Baku on double bases of his opponent. TTF, he's just not going to be able to get out because he can defend against the Ultralisk's attacks pretty decently just because of the position he's had, and he's laying mines at the front every time. But he's never going to be able to get this good of positioning over on this side of the map to take one of those 3 bases. So I don't know how TTF's going to be able to work his way back into the game. It's going to take a while for him to lose, sure, but he's not making progress at all. When Dave gets back, so he's not even here. How do you know he wants to do it if he's not even here? I don't know. Anyway. Good job by Baku, just keeping these Lings around. I think these Lings are actually patrolling just from this point to this point to make sure that none of those 3 bases are being taken, as those are the only 3 unoccupied bases on the map right now. Nope, they weren't patrolling. Never mind. But still, good mind by Baku. He knows that's the only way TTF's going to be able to get back into the game, is to get an amazing attack like that. Meanwhile, TTF's kind of running out of time. His main is out, his natural is very close, and then it will just be down to 1 base, which isn't quite enough to sustain a Terran. Doing erg into the mic? I don't know what you're talking about by erg into the mic. I really don't think I'm making erg sounds on purpose. Could it possibly be yet another sound issue? Quite probably. I don't know how to fix any of those. I really don't. God damn it, man. I'm thinking about changing my major to sound engineer or whatever will allow me to know how to fix microphones. Because at this point I would really like to know. Like, enough to completely jeopardize my future to find out how the hell to make sound work. Anyway, it doesn't look like Bakuyo's in too much of a hurry to attack TTF. He really doesn't need to. He can just RTTF out. This will be a horrible position for Bakuyo to try to get up. But if he just plays it patiently, waits for TTF to make the first move, then he can attack after TTF's moving out. He'll get in a better position. TTF won't be sieged up, and everything's going to work out great. Looks like Bakuyo's getting a little bit farther out there, trying to clear out some stuff with mines. Trying to clear out the mines, but he's gonna... I mean, if he keeps forcing TTF to make vultures, right now TTF's pretty mineral poor, just down to that one base, so I guess that's a victory, but he's gonna have a really hard time clearing out all of the mines. TTF got up to a +3 attack for his mech, so this is a very attack-strong tank force. Surprisingly, didn't get any of the armor upgrades. Armor upgrades can be quite effective in this matchup, more so than the other ones for Terran. Meanwhile, Bakuyo, also with great upgrades, almost perfect upgrade for the Ultralisk. He doesn't quite have one attack, and Bakuyo's actually moving in. I'm really surprised by this decision. He doesn't need to move in here, and he's doing some good damage, but I don't think he has quite enough stuff to take out all of the tanks. No, Bakuyo's force will eventually be cleaned up, and I don't know why he felt it was necessary to attack there. If he had just waited... then TTF would have starved out. But now Bakuyo's thrown away his army. I mean, granted, Bakuyo does have a good amount of money, so he can just make it all again pretty quickly. He's already at 172 supply, but I don't know why he bothered to do that. TTF now able to get a little bit closer to Bakuyo's base, and this expansion's in a little bit of trouble here. But this is a relatively small tank force, so Bakuyo should be able to get in here and surround it. Especially with that many Ultralisks. Yeah, that's so many Ultralisks. Once again, Bakuyo going in with a pure Ultralisk force. I guess not pure, there are 4 Zerglings, but essentially pure Ultralisk force. This is a little bit surprising. I mean, if you got low BPM, it's easier to use Ultralisks alone rather than Ultralisks and Zerglings, but there's so many benefits. So many benefits to using Zerglings and Ultralisks in conjunction. Nice vessel snipes there. TTF is actually running out of anti-air units. He doesn't have any Goliaths left. Goliaths are not very good at protecting science vessels from Scourge. Scourge moving in once again to try to find the last science vessel. Doesn't matter. GG. Bakuyo takes game number 1 for LRM. Okay. Somebody is telling me a lot of technical things as to how to fix my microphone. Those seem like words that could be applicable in this situation, but I don't know how to change the latency of my microphone. I don't even know what latency is. Latency is something in StarCraft that doesn't let me play with many people. Alright. Oh. I clear my throat a lot. Yeah, there's not much I can do about that. Let me... Okay. So, should we move question is, should we move on to game number 2, or should I try to do things to fix my mic? Because only the viewer can tell me exactly how bad it is. I just have to go off of what you guys are saying. Okay. Okay, enough people are saying it's fine. Yeah. I think Game has the right idea. If the guy who is an ex-sound engineer who could help me fix this sticks around to the end, I would be greatly appreciative. Alright, going on to game 2. So, in the bottom right, we have Bakuyu, now as the orange Zerg. And in the bottom left, we have... Interesting, iFU Eon Zerg. On... Zerg? Is that how you capitalize Zerg? Okay, cool. I'm starting to cast Eon Zerg enough that I get that right now most of the time. Anyway. So, I was a little bit surprised to see Eon Zerg here. Just that Eon Zerg's a pretty capable player, and on a lot of teams he would be good enough to be a starter. But he's definitely not the 4th best person on iFU. iFU has a lot of good players, so maybe they didn't have a good turnout today. I don't know exactly how many people showed up. Hopefully people showed up for iFU, and this isn't like Eon Zerg trying to stall for more time, waiting for other people to come. Anyway, Bakuyu with the 9 pool. I like Bakuyu's EVZ, if for no other reason than because Bakuyu changes up his build a lot, and I really appreciate that. There are other Zerg players, like True Touch, for example, who 9 pools every game. And if people play True Touch a lot, they realize that True Touch 9 pools every game, or nearly every game, and then starts countering that in ZVZ. When you go for the same build in other matchups, it's kind of fine, but in ZVZ, I really appreciate it when a Zerg player can switch it up. Eon Zerg will be going for the 12 pool, though, so Bakuyu's going to be playing from a bit of a disadvantage here. You know what? I was just making up something when I was talking about switching my major to becoming a sound engineer. I don't actually know what a sound engineer does, or what the major would be for that. I really don't think that, major universities have an acoustics program. An acoustic engineer? Are you a materials engineer, and then you just happen to get hired by a speaker company, and they teach you about sound? Maybe you're an electrical engineer, and then you learn about sound when you're working sound stuff at a stadium? I don't know. Dude, don't make fun of my pie, man. That pie was delicious. I made a pie, and Game didn't believe I made a pie. But then I showed him a picture of the pie. I'm proud of myself, man. This is my first time making a pie. And it turned out pretty good. There were some mistakes with it, but I was overall happy with the result. I forgot a couple steps when making it. Actually, one I forgot, one I just purposely left out and kind of hoped it'd work anyway. And it still worked, but it would have been better if I had not skipped that step. Anyway, Baku going for a break with his Zerglings, but Eon Zerg should be able to hold... 3 reinforcements? No. Actually, Baku's going to be able to break up this ramp with a good number of Zerglings. Eon Zerg tried to get a little bit too greedy there. He should have had an Overlord in position to see exactly how many Lings Baku was getting out and had time to make them, but no. A little bit of a mistake in not doing that. He's lost 2 drones now and stopping the creep colony from going down. So Eon Zerg's actually going to take a pretty nice hit here. Eventually the Zerglings do pop for Eon Zerg and will chase him out, but killed off creep colony plus 3 drone kills. That's going to put Eon Zerg really far behind. And then if you consider that Baku's Spire was going to be sooner anyway, it's about 1/5 of the way done. Yeah, Eon Zerg is going to be in a bit of trouble. I don't think, even if he starts the Spire right now... Oh, it's going to be really close if he starts the Spire right now as to whether he can get Scourge out in time. I think he might be forced to make a Spore Colony, but... Oh, nope. Okay, going out with an attack with Zerglings and bringing a couple of drones. So, Eon Zerg's going to go for the all-in here, bringing the drones to make Sunkens in Baku's base. Baku's actually moving out the smaller Ling force here. He needs to be careful. Okay, good. Turns around now and is heading back. That's what he needed to do. He just needs to hold off until his Spire finishes, and he will have this game all wrapped up. But... Wait, where'd the drones go? The drones got lost. They're now coming in. The Lings are in the base of Baku, but Baku's already thrown down 1 Sunken Colony and a Creep Colony, now making into that 2nd Sunken Colony. It's going to be really hard for Eon Zerg to find a spot. It's even going to be hard for him to find a spot to start building a Creep Colony. There goes 1 drone already. He'd have to build it like down here to be able to only range the lair, but that's not what Eon Zerg wanted. I guess he could build it here and maybe hit the spawning pool? Okay, he can hit the spawning pool, but even so, that's not the biggest issue here. But the biggest issue is the Spire. Baku already has Mutalisks out, and Eon Zerg does have an Evolution Chamber, but only 3 drones. So he can hardly afford to be using those drones to turn to Spore Colonies. Huh, Eon Zerg's actually making that into a Spore Colony. Okay. Interesting. I don't think the Spore Colony quite ranges the Mutalisks. Even if it does, it'd only get 1 or 2 hits off before Baku could bring him out of range. And Eon Zerg not making any spores in his base. Baku will eventually realize that and go over and kill him. And Eon Zerg trying to get the other drone in. No! Baku doing a good job of sniping drones. One down here and one up here before they dig into his base and make a Sunken. But Eon Zerg... Even if Eon Zerg was to get that Sunken down, he just doesn't have the economy at this point. He's at 13 in supply, and I think 10 of it is in Zerglings. That looks like... Okay, not quite 10 of it's in Zerglings, but here comes the Zerglings now. They're going to go after the Sunken Colony, but they certainly can't get down both. Not even sure if they can get down 1. Now going for drone kills. Do manage to get 2 drones, but Baku just has such a big Mutalisk force here. There we go. GG from Eon Zerg. Baku takes game number 2. Alright. Game number 3. Oh. Alright. In the top position we have Baku as the White Zerg. And in the bottom position we have iFU. Alright. iFU as the Teal Protoss. iFU? That's not right. Capital A and capital O, not capital F, capital O. Oh, in the way SAS is really good about... Oh, dang it, I hit the X key. Alright. iFU.alfio. Alright. In the same way that SAS is really good about having all their guys with names that are easy to pronounce and only have 1 or 0 capitalizations, iFU is the opposite, where they have lots of ridiculous names and multiple syllables and funky capitalizations on nearly everybody. The reason I was laughing at the beginning of the cast was because I was trying to confirm no one's story about Game really wanting to cast and Awa being okay with it. And I was asking Game, it's like, hey Game, you want to cast? And he's like, I guess. And I was like, God damn it. Justin lied, because he was saying you really wanted to cast. So I wasn't going to bring Game on, because Justin was lying. But then at the end of the last set, Game tells me now I do really want to cast. So Justin wasn't lying, he was just predicting the future, I guess. We'll wait one more game and see if Game's position on casting does not change, because it seems pretty much in flux right now. Alright. So, Alfio got the probe in, just scouting out. And he sees that Bakuyu did go for a 12 hatch. So, excuse me. He's getting his access down. I'm a little bit surprised to see Bakuyu moving away with his drone. If he kept the drone there, he might have been able to try to delay the forge. But Bakuyu's not a player to make a lot of early Zerglings, so even delaying that, delaying that cannon would not have been a huge help to him. And that drone has to go make the third. There we go. Good wall. This map's pretty easy to wall on. It's nice to put the, just forge here, gateway here, then nice sized opening up here that goons can get out, but Zerglings are going to have a hard time running all the way around because there's a lot of surface area for the cannon to attack, and the goons don't have to go through the mineral line. So, nice wall. Actually, I think Gladiator's a pretty bad map for Zerg aggression as a whole. Just because it's easy to make walls for Protoss, and contains, I really do not like contains on this map, because you have, at least some of your contain has to be on a low ground. There's no way you could make some kind of like triangle arc to try to have all your units on the high ground. That'd just be silly. On the other hand, though, Bakuyu does get a lot of advantage with his lurkers on all of the high ground ridges that aren't immediately outside the Protoss' base. So it's good for the Zerg to be out there with map control, but not necessarily so aggressive that he's trying to contain or trying to bust through the front. And Bakuyu gets the Overlord away. A little bit closer than he probably wanted, but it's fine. And Alfio throws in the Stargate. Citadel most likely to follow. Alfio's a pretty solid Protoss player. He has some slightly quirky timings with his zealots moving out every now and then. But overall, he plays it rather by the book, just a little bit to more, a little bit to the more aggressive side. I don't know if Bakuyu meant to put the Hydralisk Den here, because he could have put it 1 hex up, but this is still blockable by doing exactly this, just making an egg to block that. And yeah, the probe had to glitch through the egg, and the Zergling had to go around. So I'm not sure if Bakuyu meant to leave that gap so that he could block it off easily or not. Some players do leave that gap, some players put it tight. Oh, hey, Baku's here. iFU got another Yoli Goon. He's going to be able to kill off one of the Overlords easily, so that the Corsair can either get a different Overlord as his first kill, or so that it could get off an easier scout without killing off the first Overlord. Okay, you did want to close the gap, but the egg was blocking. Okay. I definitely have seen Zerg players purposely leave that there, so that they can run their Hydralisks through really easily, and then make eggs, and then all of a sudden it's tight. And those are pretty cool when it happens, but yeah, it tends to be a little bit more rare. Unfortunately for Bakuyu, he has 2 Overlords here, and the Hydralisks haven't spawned yet. So, well, he's going to be supply blocked, but he's not going to lose the other one. Oh, actually he will with this other Corsair. Will he? Will he? Yep. Some pretty fancy micro from iFU. Just barely not losing this Corsair, but does get the Overlord kill. Kind of cute. Might not be worth it, because if this Corsair gets anywhere close to a Hydralisk, it's going down immediately. Like right now. Yeah. So probably was not worth it in the end to do that cute stuff to get the Overlord kill, but it looked nice. That's what really matters. That +1 is a bit late. +1 should be finishing up pretty soon normally. And speed is definitely going to finish before it. So, iFU getting... I think he got his... he might have gotten his Templar Archives a little bit faster. Or... Oh, he went for... Excuse me. He went for +1 air attack before +1 ground attack. First CT coming out for iFU. Bakuyu... Bakuyu doesn't have a Sim City here. Actually, I'm not sure why Bakuyu doesn't have a Sim City here. But he placed... That hatchery should be here. He did go for an early expansion here. Relatively early, because he didn't go into 5 hatches. Anyway, as long as he keeps that Overlord alive, the DT won't be able to do too much. Bakuyu went for Mutalisks. Okay. So, iFU's defense against Mutalisks. Ooh, the cannons aren't in yet. The cannons just started. iFU was not prepared for Mutalisks, and there are only a couple of Corsairs overhead. Those aren't going to be enough to take care of the Mutalisks. So, Bakuyu with a pretty good spread. Oh! Oh, Storm! Sneaky Templar out of nowhere! Storm 6 of the Mutalisks, and Bakuyu was looking like he was going to be in a really good position. But not only did iFU sneak the Templar in to storm it, but he also stormed perfectly to not kill any of his own probes. Because that was a real threat at that point. Oh, Bakuyu. He had a great opportunity there to do a lot of damage, but it did not work out for him. Ouch. Ouch. And actually, it looks like iFU is going to stop production from the Stargate. That's a really big hit, considering that he went for +1 Corsairs. And he's only going to stick with 2 of them. He lost 3 overhead. So, a significant part of his game plan is just going to have to be abandoned now. He's going to have to transition into the next phase, which is a pretty robust ground army. No Archons, though, which is a little bit on the scary side. Those Archons tend to make these pushes a lot more beefier. They take a lot of damage and can kill off Zerglings very quickly. Well, Bakuyu doesn't seem to have a good number of Zerglings out, so not going to be the biggest thing. There is a Dark Templar, so if Bakuyu's not careful, these Corsairs can come in and snipe an Overlord, but there actually isn't even an Overlord to snipe. Bakuyu needs to make one of these into a creep colony, or excuse me, into a spore colony, but even if he does, he just doesn't have enough stuff here for all the normal units. So this base is going to go down for Bakuyu. I still don't understand why Bakuyu didn't make a Sim City at this base. If he had a Sim City, it wouldn't have helped that much. I mean, there's just too much stuff here, but SimCity certainly would have helped. Huh. Alright. So, game number 4. Oh. Alright, game has not changed his changed his mind. He is going he does want to cast. So let's bring him in and hope that he does not bring more audio issues. Sorry if that's loud. Hello? Hello? I can hear your stream because I heard the echo of me calling.
Oh, I didn't have my mic on.
There we go.
Just kidding.
Hi. How you doing today,
How you
game?
doing there? I'm just fine, you know.
That's good. That's good. No spoilers, right?
No, what's your game name?
Oh, right. Haha. I can't host. I completely forgot about that aspect. So, I need to send you the replays.
Oh ho ho ho.
Ho.
Well, I have... Wait.
If you...
I have the rest of the replays, so I'll host some Game 4/4.
Okay. Made yet.
And the next game is on Match Point 1.3. We actually had LRM had like every single player at the Clan Wars today. It was kind of ridiculous. I wish I could say that every week.
Gotta bust out your sweet managerial strategies.
Wait, those exist? Alright.
I don't know, man. So, in the bottom position, we have iFU Alfio as the purple Protoss. And in the top right position, we have LRM Castro. Is that capitalized right? Yes, it is. Nice.
I don't know.
And he is the Teal Zerg. And there was some drama with Castro. Something about him being on the roster or not being on the roster, but apparently it all got worked out.
They wouldn't update the thread, and iFU management they said that we're cheating together and Castro isn't really on the team and he can't play, yada yada yada. And they would just posted a screenshot of me saying that I want him on my lineup like 3 days ago.
Alright. Why did you take him off the roster?
He joined UED.
Ah.
They don't play in Gambit Cup, but it was kind of a dismissal.
Okay. Alfio with an interesting pylon position that's too far forward for normal walls. Could be an indication that he's going for gateway first kind of build.
Or he could be doing it like the old Hunter style, where you just take your whole choke area. He could just take that ramp right now in that other side. Never have to worry about anything.
Well, we'll see. No, he is going to put down the forge. That's not going to be tight between the gateway and the pylon, and I don't think it's tight between the pylon and the wall either.
You're right. Oh no, it's the pylon is tight on the right side, but if Castro does some type of quick lurker build, he can put some lurkers on the low ground and have one link for vision and take out that pylon and unpower the cannons if he does Nartosis pylon.
We will have to see. Castro went for an overpull, so he's not going to have the fastest lings in the world, but still a little bit of a threat if he builds a full set of 6 and Alfio does not block the gap. It's a little bit surprising because there is a way I'm pretty sure there's a way to perfectly wall on this map instead of the way that he's doing it now.
So Alfio saw the links, but still decided that he'll only do one cannon. I
think one cannon. Okay, 2 more lings coming in for Castro. I'm not sure if Alfio saw the second set of lings. Or, excuse me, the third set of lings. So he might have only seen 4.
Now he sees them, but he's got 8 lings in general.
Yeah. Okay. Alfio's Nexus is down. He's still going to go for a pretty aggressive build, and now throwing down cannon number 2 and in position to throw down the gateway. So he should be fine if Castro decides to do something a little bit aggressive.
I don't know if you noticed, but Castro just had some crazy APM when he had those 4 lings. He was having the 1 attack, and he split all 3 individually to try to surround the scout like 3 different times. It takes a crazy amount of APM. So Alfio still doesn't have a gateway, and Castro put his 3rd up.
Yeah, gateway started now. The gateway is going to be just in time to make this a relatively tight wall. And no, the pylon is not tight on the right side. So the Zerglings are going to run in, but only one of them manages to survive. He won't be able to do a lot of... he might not be able to do a lot of damage with it. And Alfio thought his wall was correct, apparently. That is not... that's not a right wall. I mean, luckily he did have 2 cannons, so even if he had absolutely no wall, he was going to be able to kill off most of those lings, but...
That was the most useless ling ever. Just died to probes. Well, whatever.
Okay. I guess the one good thing about this wall is that he put the gateway slightly to the left, and if he had put it to the right so that it was flush with the pylon, not only would there be 2 holes for lings, but there would not be a hole for goons, and he'd have to destroy something. But now I think he can get goons out.
Unless Alfio puts like a gateway in front of that pylon that he's building Cybernetics Core at, then that makes no sense. It's like the worst area for tech ever. It's mind-boggling, actually. Overlord sees it anyway.
Yeah. That's a bit weird. I think that he might have been trying to do something a little bit sneaky with the positioning by putting it in between the main and the natural, but Matchpoint is known as a map with a very large main, so I think it would have been better off to just try to hide it in the bottom right corner of his main instead, if that is indeed what he was going for.
No, he's really just building his tech out there.
Maybe.
I guess that's good. I mean, there's a lot of drops by Zergs on Matchpoint, and losing your main would mean losing your tech at that point.
Maybe he realized his wall was bad, and now he's just trying to re-wall down here, and he'll put, like, Stargate over Cybercore.
Dragoon coming out, it's not going to be able to kill that Overlord. Not sure why it was ever made.
Yeah. Alfio does like to go for that early goon in a lot of games to try to find an Overlord kill. But as you said, this one's going to be able to retreat, and it's unlikely that the Dragoon will make it all the way around to find the other one. So it won't quite work out for him. Castro, with another 10 links? 10 links?
Well, it was 12, but he killed a Zealot with, and the Zealot killed 2 links.
I don't think this is going to be quite enough to manage to get a run by an accidentally hold positioning him a little bit too close. No. Alfio getting a little bit forward out there with the goon, but pulls it back in time, so doesn't lose anything. And going to
Castro's link control is really bad. This entire game, minus that fancy micro he did.
Well, Alfio will find an Overlord just by chance. It wasn't even one of the first scouting Overlords. But gonna pick that off before continuing on to the main for a scout. And
going for 4-hatch Mito.
Yeah, Castro not building. I guess he did build one set of Scourge immediately, but going for immediate Mutalisks instead of the Hydralisk Den. A lot of players like to go for at least get a Hydralisk Den down before switching into Mutalisk play. That's what Cole does in every game. But I can understand why you go for this style. Matchpoint is a map where you can't do 4-base Turtle Zerg. So there isn't that you don't need to be making Sim Cities. You're only going to be defending 3 bases anyway. I can understand why you'd go for faster Mutalisks on a map like this.
I wouldn't be surprised if he all-in muted at this point. He just took 2 gas expos with his 5th and 6th hatcheries.
Wow. That is a very fast 4th base and 5th base. But here comes Castro's Mutalisks. These are very fast Mutalisks, so Alfio does not have cannons in his main. He actually doesn't even... He has a okay number of Corsairs. Is this another game where he's going for +1? Took me a while to find the Cyber Core, because it was in a weird place. But yes, he is going for +1, and +1 is going to be done relatively soon. It's going to help him hold off this attack a lot. No Templar Archives, though, so he probably will not be able to get off a nice storm like he did against Bakuryu. Scourge moving in, they might be able to pick off one of those Corsairs. Yeah, he could definitely pick off one if Castro was paying attention, but gets one anyway. And now pulling back with the Mutalisks. He doesn't quite have enough Mutalisks. If he was to spread them out perfectly, he might be able to just barely beat the Corsairs, but good decision just pulling them back, waiting for a bigger flock.
I like to point out this is the exact same build order that he did versus Bakuryu. And more importantly, have you noticed his cannons in his main? Like, they're defending drops and stuff already.
I have. Now. So.
Oh, hey, Mutas. My name's Sarah. We're just gonna right-click next to each other. How's that sound?
Alfio moving out with his first Zealot attack, and only bringing 2 in for whatever reason. He's going to lose both of them before the other ones come in. And a pretty even battle between Alfio's Sayers and Castro's Mutalisks, but Alfio's just barely going to be able to win it. Unfortunately, though, for him, Castro bringing in more lanes to win the battle on the ground. He won't be able to do any economic damage with the Zealots. And the last Zealot's going to come down here, scout out to see that Castro has this relatively early base. I wonder how long it's going to take him to realize that Castro not only has that 4th, but also a 5th. Scourge coming in.
I don't think he'll get that opportunity. He has a lot of gateways, but he doesn't have a robo, and Castro's lurker upgrade's 99% done right now.
Alfio losing yet another Corsair to Scourge. Alfio's actually been really aggressive with his Corsairs in both of these games, in just accepting losses to trade with Mutalisks. Now pulling away. Also very aggressive in Overlord hunting, just ignoring Hydralisks, ignoring Scourge. So, as you said, Lurker upgrade is done. I'm looking for Hydralisks now.
That is natural. He's got 2 of them. He's got no gas whatsoever.
Yeah. It's a little bit odd that he went for that very quick double expansion and then didn't take either of those gases.
And he's actually Alfio has double his supply right now, and he's going 7 gate. He's doing the exact same thing he did versus Bakuryu. I'm tempted to say this is the only PvZ he knows right now.
Yep. Because
on Gladiator and Matchpoint, those are polar opposite maps. You wouldn't want to do the same thing twice, especially if your clanmate can tell you what's going to happen.
Well, not working out so badly for him so far. As long as he's able to finally take out one of those bases, that's really the biggest issue here. If Castro's able to populate those fully this early in the game, it's just going to be an insurmountable for Alfio. But at the moment, they are relatively weak. Alfio's repurposed Corsair fleet now back up to 6. A little bit spread out, though. If Castro brings over some Scourge, they won't be able to kill them off before they get hits.
Castro built a shitload of Overlords just in case he keeps losing Stairs. And they were abandoned if Alfio was using his Stairs. Stop lag. Lag, clack. Lacag.
Lacag.
Lacag. You stop that Lacag. It's ridiculous, Moisha. Now he's going pure goon. And his robotics facility has just started.
Alright. Alfio does have a strong enough ground army to take this 3rd base, which is a pretty big milestone in the PvZ matchup. On this map, normally Alfio would have to be really scared of Castro attacking down this big ramp, because that's a really prevalent threat. But Castro has not had a very large ground army this game, mostly because all of his investment's been going into economy. So he has a little bit on his own plateau, but that's not even big enough to do anything if he was to move it out. So Alfio's, this is going to be completely safe for Alfio. Castro can do little more than harass with a single lurker. And how long until Alfio gets observers out? Oh wow, observatory just started.
I'm pretty sure it'll be too late. Castro has a full economy on 5 different bases and is currently macroing from 8 hatcheries.
Yeah.
And losing Sares. It's cool too.
It looks like Alfio may have missed his timing window to punish Castro for going for those really fast expansions, but if he can't punish, this is going to be it. Storm's going down, pretty nice. Oh, not nice storm. Most of the lurkers actually got out of there. It was a good storm probably when he clicked, but didn't connect. And now Alfio's going to be forced to pull back. He just cannot deal with that many lurkers. He doesn't have enough storms. He's killed off some of the lurkers. There's still a couple of left. He is going to barely win this battle, but that's not a big enough remaining army to actually do any damage, and Castro will eventually be able to clean it up as he rallies in more and more units.
And Alfio's not even using his third base because he's scared of the one lurker that's sitting back there, so he has to wait for his observers to even clean it up. First 8 hatch macro.
Is that?
Yeah.
I don't even think that lurker's in a position to hit probes.
No, it can't range. In fact, Alfio tested with 1 probe and now he just sent like 27 over there.
Alright. You know what? Better safe than sorry, I guess. That's fine.
Indeed. But it looks like Castro wants to take Alfio's 4th in the top left.
He does have a drone in position. Castro is actually starting to bank a lot of gas after taking all those expansions. Now just getting that Queen's Nest, so it's going to be a little while before the hive finishes, and he can either burn all that gas into Defilers or more likely Ultralisks. And Ultralisks at this point is just going to be so devastating. Alfio does not have good upgrades, does not have a whole lot of tech units, doesn't even have Reaver tech. I don't know how he could stop Castro just flooding Ultralisks from an economy.
Holy sunken colonies.
Yeah.
Hey guys, let's run in. Just kidding.
It's slightly surprising to see him build sunken colonies back into the base. Just because on this particular expo, Zergs like to put all their sunken colonies in that little gap that you can't see, game, but I am highlighting on my screen. And most of them don't build it back like this because they don't quite defend each other as well. So this base is going to go down because it didn't bring any lurkers over here. Or not. Lurkers coming in from the back.
Just kidding. You build them back because this base is easily stormable from the outside and there's no way to prevent that. So if you're gonna, the only way to defend it is to turtle it. Holy suicide misclick.
Aw. Actually didn't lose that many.
Yeah, but they're all almost dead. Like, I poked them to death.
Yeah. More blaming the lag.
The lag.
No, this time was the lag.
It's whatever. You can't change your mind once you say lag.
Pretty sure lag is an Italian word for, like, damn cat. Maybe it, like, ran underneath his feet or something.
Only way you can... Oh my god, is this guy gonna get suspended for this shit?
I don't know. Alfio's already been suspended twice. I don't know what the punishment is for 3 times. Is it just 3 weeks?
3 spankings.
Finally has an observer so he can take out that one lurker, but...
That's a good timing window at least. The cracklings for Castro are only about 80% done, and his lurkers were still forming.
But he doesn't have enough stuff, especially not enough High Templar with that attack. That was almost all speed loss, and I think there was only 1 or 2 High Templar. Archon
there was 2. They made an Archon that died.
Yeah. So Alfio is going to be forced to pull back once again. It looks like Alfio is now trying to set up his own 4th base. Okay.
This guy.
Now I'm pretty sure that counts.
In case the other ones
it's
didn't.
Like, I think it was, I don't know, I think it was kind of a judgment call beforehand, but now it's not a judgment call.
Well, you were, I'll tell you afterwards. Decent storm, getting some links.
Now iFU really needs to get the bye for next week so that Alfio's suspension doesn't... Oh, Wait.
It would be like forever.
Alfio's going to be like suspended for the rest of the year at this point, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if he gets suspended, he's not coming to the playoffs.
I think he might be able to come back for finals.
Possibly.
No.
His discretion.
No,
so
he can't. He's out.
I really want to lurker drop on Alfio's third. He literally has like 70 probes on it.
Probably.
Do it. He's just running there with all his lurkers and sacrifice him to get those probes. Castro he has 2 lings, almost 3 done cracklings. Macroing from 8 hatcheries. This doesn't look very good. Alfio's mining with 1 probe from his 4th.
I see the Ultralisk Cavern up, but I'm surprised no Defilers and no actual Ultralisks yet.
Nice Hydra micro.
Yeah.
You see that? Yeah.
Morphing on the way now. Castro is barely going to be able to win yeah, barely holds out Alfio, going to be able to protect his 6th base for however much longer. I don't think he's going to be able to completely secure that, but at this point he really doesn't need to. As long as
I don't even think he cares at this point.
Oh.
Aww.
Oh, that's not very nice.
Okay, so what I was going to say, in case it wasn't a spoiler at that point, is that he came back in the channel and started BMing him too. So... at first he was just BMing Castro for lag, and then he was like, that's the only way LRM, B-rank, average team, blah blah blah, fucking laggy bitches, yada yada yada.
Are we allowed to blame it on his hot Latin blood? Or is that...
It's because he's a model. That's what it is.
It's because he's a model?
You have to understand. Because, you know, like, Scan was a pro gamer for SKT, right?
Right.
And Dralsy is, like, professional Brood War, professional soccer, professional model, / Nina's husband, and all that stuff. And then you got Alfio, who's also a professional model, and, like, he's got 3 PhDs and shit. He's a black belt in several things of karate, and you know that's what you have to do when you're that disciplined and that much karate, but you're still a professional model. You have to balance out your blood pressure, and sometimes it gets the better of you.
That's impressive, man.
Well, see, oh, by the way, game 4/4.
Okay.
The thing is with Alfio is that I've seen his picture. He's actually a pretty handsome guy, which makes me understand why he plays Brood War and gets mad, because only a guy that handsome could do that, first off, and second off, I think we can judge penis sizes here.
Moving on to game number 5!
La Pancha.
And we have Castro in the bottom position, returning for LRM. He is the blue Zerg, and in the top position we have, as the last hope, iFU's Must.
Which is their best player, so I don't know why they didn't start with him.
Yeah. Wait, what?
What?
Why is Must saying he isn't Russian? Why is Must saying he's Indian?
He works at a call center and hello, this is AT&T. Oh yes, no, AT&T.
What?
He's actually playing from the call center right now. That's why we couldn't trace his IP.
Why? Why is Must lying about where he's from? I understand you don't say anything, but why are you lying on something that simple? I don't know. Alright. Anyway, yeah, I can see why teams would like to save their best player for last as an anchor and somebody to fall back on, but in this situation where an all-kill would really help you out, it was a little bit surprising to not see Must go first. Or Alfio. Alfio is also pretty good.
Yep. Was that that overpull? Yep.
Yeah.
Must, the only notable PVZs I can remember for him are, was a 1-burst Cole where he just got slaughtered by Cole, but then came back with Sarah DT when the map was mined out. because Cole was throwing units away the entire time. As far as I know, Must is really only good PvT and PvP. But he has played like 17,000 ladder games in the past 3 seasons, so I don't think I can really discount any of his matchups.
Must.
Pylon.
Yep, throwing down the Manor Pylon. And... I don't think that he walled correctly, because he's going to put the gateway down. But not only is there a hole in the wall between the forge and the gateway, but also when Zerglings hug the right side, the cannons will not get many shots off. So,
well, there's that big dead bolter thing in the way. That doesn't help.
Oh, if he puts the gateway there?
On the right of the forge, yeah.
If he puts it... Okay, I'm curious where he's going to put the gateway now. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway...
Well, besides that, I watched the game replays of Castro recently, because, you know, I just randomly watch replays of people that... Yeah, that's what I do. And a lot of his ZVP losses were exactly like this, where someone would Manor Pylon him, typically on a 2-player map, and he would just be so behind the entire game. Oh, I see what you're talking about, the right side.
Yeah. So, he did put the gateway where I thought he was going to put it, and now it's not tight between the gateway and the forge, and this was the run-by lane I was worried about, but Must doing a very good job of blocking with the probes for a good amount of time. Now the Ling's finally able to get in. Are they going to be able to finish off the cannon? It does look like yes, just barely they're able to. Another cannon being thrown down. If Must had actually been attacking with the probes, I think he might have been able to save it, because all the Lings are very injured.
What a blunder.
But now pulling a lot of probes, Castro could try to rally in more Lings, but he's already done good enough amount of damage. Must actually hasn't thrown down the cannon yet, which is a little bit surprising.
No money.
No money? Oh.
I'm actually curious why Must didn't prepare for that. You blocked his hatchery. What did you think he was going to do with an overpull? Like, just make drones to not mine at the hatchery that he could not mine at? So he's got a Zealot out, and he's just going to counter with it, despite Lings coming in.
And Castro has just started speed, so I think he will be committing pretty heavily to some Zergling aggression here. He smells blood in the water, and...
He ran around the Zealot.
Yeah, actually both times Castro sent his Lings in the not necessarily ideal path. I think it was to avoid scouting. So, Zerglings and Zealot will miss each other, but there are Zerglings back at Castro's base, and he's continuing to make more, so that Zealot will do no damage. On the other hand, Zerglings streaming in, and that wall is not tight. So the cannon's going to go down very quickly. Must now pulling probes, but there are so many Lings that pulling probes isn't going to help. And going to take down the pylon before that Zealot gets out. So now no gateway to make Zealots, and only a single pylon from which you can make cannons from, and that is not the best place for a pylon to be right now.
Yeah, and trying to make a cannon right out in the open.
And
no GG.
Must has left the game.
Uh-oh, no GG. More discipline?
No GG.
4K?
Oh, and they can't get second place now, so they have to play next week.
Yep.
LRM takes it.
Did he just ban himself?
I banned him.
Oh, okay.
He said, "Please ban me." So
yeah, you can't just not ban him. I mean, he asked for it.
So, that was a short cast.
Yeah,
do you have the
no.
NB versus?
No.
Okay. Do you want to stick around, because I'm going to be casting them now anyway?
Yeah.
All right. I will send them to you.
We decided pre-clan war. We were like, you know what? We're gonna make this a short clan war. Not really, but you know, in spirit. Well, hi guys.
Oh. Whoops. I actually had not put them in the correct folder yet. Now I have to go find them. Showing folder. found them. Sending you files.
You can do it.
My screen's blacking out for whatever reason. Okay, there we go.
It's anonymous.
Okay.
They were a day early.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. I've sent you files. So,
Derkety.
the next matchup is NB versus IWL. IWL. Oh, shit. I had a question for Bakuyu, but I banned him. So now I can't ask him.
Wait, you didn't unban him?
It's a 10-minute timeout.
You know you can just ban him and unban him, and then it does the same thing. Yeah, I just unbanned him. He can talk now.
Oh, okay. Hi, Bakuyu.
Now we can.
Yeah.
Cause I see you. Vicar hospitalized with, what the hell? Wait, my brain just broke.
I don't know.
Alright, so I got 3 plays. Alright, Jade 1.1. Game is up.
Alright. So, I'll do introductions before I ask my question for Bakuyu.